Greetings, good morning. My name is Joshua Shaddox. This is Liberty University's History US 512, the American Revolution discussion board post number 4. In this discussion, we are to select one of the constitutional amendments and discuss it. And so for it, I picked the amendment number 10, which says the powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution nor prohibited by it to the states are reserved to the states respectively or to the people. I selected this amendment to talk about because I think it truly conveys what the founders had hoped for when they wrote the Articles of Confederation. And I think that it shows their desire to strike a balance between a central government, which was found to be inadequate in the decade following the revolution, and the rights of the states, or the power of the states. So the founders had feared a tyrannical government, which they had been used to under England, and they had attempted to prevent that from happening here in America. That's the reason why Washington had such a hard time raising an army, as we've learned about throughout this course, is that he was having trouble because they were so afraid of a strong central government or of a military dictator that would come in and take over. And of course, as we talked about, as we read about, that this is why it was so important that Washington go to Annapolis and surrender his commission at the conclusion of the war, and show that Congress, or show that the people, the civilians, were truly in charge of this new nation. The founding fathers were hoping to create a new nation where all people were created equal. Of course, we see that language in the Declaration and in the Constitution, that idea that it was about the people and not about the government. And I think that the reason for this is because they were witnesses to a government that didn't allow everyone to have a voice previous. They were also witnesses to a system of government that those in the colonies were less than those in Parliament or those in the government in England, and they knew too well what would happen if a strong central government were to come in and take over, and they were afraid of that. And that's the reason why the language of the 10th Amendment is written the way it is. And I truly believe that the 10th Amendment was a designed amendment that protected the states and it protected the individual. It carries the flavor of the Articles of Confederation. I think that's the link between the Articles of Confederation, which they proved didn't really work very well, and in the new Constitution. It gave autonomy and authority to the states and also to the people. They wanted the states to have more power than the central government because of what they feared, because of what they had witnessed and what the history of the colonies had been prior to the Revolution. Unfortunately, the Articles of Confederation were too weak to hold the country together and operate the way a country would need to, and obviously there was clear flaws, which led to the Constitution. But again, the 10th Amendment was written to protect the people, to protect the states, their authority, and they thought it was very necessary to protect against the injustices. I mean, all of the amendments really were the protection of our religious freedom and our ability to speak out against the government, the prevention of troops being quartered in the homes of the civilians, and protections against search and seizures. These were all things that they had endured under England, and they were trying to prevent that. And so the 10th Amendment was specifically written to protect the states from the federal government. And of course, unfortunately, a half a century later, it would be tested once again in war, as the Great Civil War would test whether a nation conceived in liberty could long endure, as Abraham Lincoln would say. But that's obviously another topic altogether. I just thought that the 10th Amendment showcased really the transition between the Articles of Confederation and the U.S. Constitution that we have today. And the writers of the Bill of Rights really wanted language to express a protection and a promotion of individuals and states over the collective nation, so they couldn't be trampled on. So that's the 10th Amendment. I look forward to your feedback.